Hey there, I'm Donna.
And I'm Michael.
And we are the Fechners. And we're just teachers. In fact, we're ordinary people.
But over the last 10 years, we have had some incredible experiences and we've embraced them fully. And our glass is always half full. We never know what's going to happen next.
So we say, why not
Take a chance? Now, Donna, we are very fortunate we're in Vignacourt, in France.
Yes. We thought it was time to catch up with our friends and see how life was going over here because it's such an important part of our world.
And of course, Donna, when we do this, you sample one of the little wonders of life, champagne.
Well, yes, you must because you're in Champagne. So this afternoon I'm just popping open a little bottle of a little beauty that we bought across the road in Aldi. God bless Aldi.
Oh, you can buy champagne at Aldi.
Well, you can do that in Australia and other states too. But this one is a Champagne Brut Rose from Veuve Dulon from the area of Champagne. Cheers.
Oh, well, Sunday.
Asante.
Well, Donna, here we are in Vignacourt.
In downtown Vignacourt with our friend Valerie.
Hello, Valerie. How are you?
Hello.
Valerie
I'm fine, thank you.
She's exceptional at English, but we will speak a little slowly just to make sure Valerie can get all our details.
Now, Valerie is very important because Valerie is in charge of the Vignacourt 1418 Centre, which was built for the centenary of the Great War.
Yeah.
And Valerie, you've been involved for a long time, haven't you?
Since the beginning.
Since the beginning.
Yeah.
And what does it mean to you, the centre?
It means a lot of things because for me all this history is the history of our village, but also the history of a lot of people, Australian people, British people, and Chinese people, all the people who came during this war, the first one, and it's important because what we are discovering every day. It's how we are linked together with all this history.
Wonderful. But Valerie, you were here before the centre was built. You started a lot of work with the teenagers, didn't you?
Yeah.
Which was really the beginning.
So the beginning, I meet Laurent Mirouz, who have discovered all this collection. And I meet him because the story began really in 1988 when we make the promise, because during the war, just after the war, the 17th November 1918, the mayor of Vignacourt, his name was Paul Thuillier-Buriard, he made two promises. The first one was to take care of the grave of the cemetery of Vignacourt. The second one was it was funny because it was like a joke. The Australian have renamed our street in the village during the war, and the people were laughing about that.
Australian names.
Yeah, so we have Melbourne Street, Adelaide Street,
I never
Sydney.
knew that.
You never knew that?
I never knew that.
I'm going to show that to you because the pastor of the village have write that.
So there must have been a lot of Australians here then to start talking about things like that.
Between 1916 to 1918, a lot of Australian.
Wow, so Melbourne, so capital cities in each of the streets, so Melbourne Street,
Adelaide Street, Sydney Street,
Wow.
Station Street.
There's not a Brisbane Street?
Yeah, Brisbane
There is Brisbane
Street.
Street.
Yeah, I'm going to show you. You have to ask
Wow.
me when we are going to
Yes,
go to the
please.
museum because I have really this story. I have really this story. They have renamed our street and the people were laughing about that. So we make the second promise was a little joke to say, we are going to remember you, because between 1960 to 1918, a lot of Australians were present in Vignacourt. And it was like a joke, you know. And we promise we will make street for the people to remember the Australian.
Wow.
And this second promise was not done. 70 years after, in 1988, Michel Hubot,
Yes.
the mayor of Vignacourt, find in the archive of the village, he found the act, the promise.
Of the mayor before.
Yeah, and he say, hey, there is a promise, we did not did it, so we are going to do it. So in 1988, we inaugurate in Vignacourt Australian Street and General Martin Street.
Ah.
Okay,
Yeah.
we have 2 streets in Vignacourt.
Yeah.
And for this moment, we went to see Robert, the son of the Tuilier.
Yes.
When they arrived in the farm, Robert was 74. And they said to him, because the old people of the village knew about photo
The
and
Tuilier,
picture
yeah.
during the war.
Yeah.
So they arrived in the farm and they asked to Robert, we know that your parents realized photo during the war. Do you know where they are? Do you have something about that? And he said, yes, the photos are in the attic. So for the first time, we make an exhibition around 100, 200 photos. It's a picture you see in the council. The old picture who was
So
in
the
the council.
the pictures in and around the council building at the moment,
walls, yeah.
they were the ones done in 1988.
88.
Who printed them? A local printer.
Yeah, it was Robert Cronier.
Oh, Connier.
Yeah,
Yes.
the father of Véronique.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
he print the picture because he was the cousin of Robert.
Yes.
And Robert say, okay, you can print some of them,
Yes.
but it's Robert
Amazing.
Cronier who
Yes,
does that.
I would like him
okay,
to do that.
so it was the first time the population sees some of them because you have to imagine 200 print for 4,000 plates.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So everybody sees the photo, the Australians see the photo, and no, it was nice.
It was nice.
Nice moment, but nothing happened behind, you know. And it's Laurent who writes to everybody for several years because he is going to begin to write in 1990, and the Australians are going to come here in 2010, 20 years.
Yes.
During
Yes.
20 years, nothing happened.
Nothing happened.
Okay, and in 2010 when they arrived, I was here.
Yeah.
You know, before I was here because I am from this village, but I have some, you know, I remember a little but not a lot.
Yes, yes.
So you, in that time, you were part of all that. In 2010 they arrived and you were witness to when they collected the plates and did all the things in 2010.
But you're
So
also a local Vignacourt girl, aren't you?
Yeah,
So you grew
yeah.
up in...
So I speak a little. I speak with Laurent, also with Ross and
Ross
Max.
and Max, yes.
Because I speak a little English,
Yeah.
and I was upset because all the plates were leaving, you know.
Yeah.
And they said to us, "Don't worry, we are taking the plates. We are going to take care of them. But this is your story.
Yes.
So all the collection is going to come back in Vignacourt, and we are going to send you all the plate, all the photo. All the photo
Yeah. Oh.
after they have
produced
scanned
photos.
it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so they did that. And just before leaving, they say, if we can say something, you should buy this place, the farm, because she was
yes.
to sell. It was to
Yeah.
sell.
Oh,
Yes.
it was up for sale.
Okay. So I know you remember how it was,
Yes.
you know,
Yes.
and so for the council, it was something difficult to take the decision to buy this because it was really, really,
Run down.
really damaged, you
Yes.
know. So, the council said, okay, we are going to buy the farm. So we bought it and we began to make a project to make the museum. And then at the beginning, nobody wanted to help us. And the Australians say, okay, we are going to help you. And when the Australians say, okay, we are going to help you, everybody say, okay, we are going to help you, you know. So, and the work began. And the work began in 2014,
Yes.
and it opened
In
in
2018.
2018.
Yeah.
Perfect
How did you feel the day it opened? How did you feel for yourself? Because you had that part of history that you were with all the way along. You were away for a little while, but then came back.
I think it's very, very, very important for Vignacourt. A lot of people don't. When the people visit this museum, they take they have conscience. Before for them it's only photo, okay,
Yes, yeah.
and only picture taken during the World War One.
Yes.
Okay, it's true.
Yeah.
But when you discover all these photos, because they are really special, you know, Antoinette and Louis were not photographers. They were two farmers, and they just love new technology, you know. And so when they began to make all these portraits, it was with pleasure, and you can feel that really.
Yes.
When you see all these guys, you can see them. They are smiling.
They're happy.
Something really special, you know. Antoinette tried a lot of things.
Yeah.
She tried to ask them to do something, you know, because at this time you don't have to move. So
Yes.
we know some picture. She have asked them do boxing, you know,
yeah.
and you can feel that.
And some with animals and relaxed.
this
And
time-
with Atelier Kids even.
Yes.
With Atelier
Yeah,
Kids.
and
Yeah.
local,
Yeah,
local
local.
people.
Yeah. And you can feel that. And at this time, at the beginning of the century, it was really modern to do
Yes,
that.
forward thinking.
And every time people are coming in the museum, most of them say,
Wow.
wow,
Yeah.
it's incredible. They look like they were here yesterday.
yeah.
And I say, yes. And really, it's, for me, I have, you know, I'm working on this collection since 2012. I have seen a lot of photos of World War One, because when I make research, I search in other photos
Yes.
of the World War One.
Yeah.
This one, all this collection is really special. Really, it's different.
And the quality of the photos, the faces are clear. So for identification purposes, their photographs are a great assistance
Yeah.
because you can match face
Yeah.
to face.
And
So-
we know that there are many photos of the Great War
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
over the Somme,
Yeah.
and we know that there are museums and battlefields, and a lot of people come from all over the world to see those things. But I continue to be amazed because the Vignacourt Centre is the only one of a kind on the Somme that tells the background story, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, you.
Behind the lines.
Yes.
The graffiti of now will tell you also
Yes,
the background
yes.
story, but it's not pictures.
There's nowhere else
It's-
on the Somme.
It's graffiti.
Yeah.
Before Vignacourt, people learnt about battlefields.
Yeah.
And about battles.
Yeah.
And all that,
Yeah.
we still pay respect for that.
Yeah.
But the Vignacourt and Noah's collections
Yeah.
are unique in that they are behind, as Donna
Yeah.
said, behind.
Because after the war, it was normal that we speak about battlefield and all
Yes.
this symmetry. You know, it's so strong in
It's the
in
grief.
the Somme.
Yeah.
But what we realize when we found this collection,
Yeah.
but also the graffiti, people get involved and research why they were here.
Yes.
You know, and it's how the way they discover that behind the line, a lot of things happen.
Yes.
You know, and they stay long time.
People don't think that.
Yeah,
They think
yeah.
they go to battle, and many people who have come to the battlefields, it's sad because they come to remember, but the Vignacourt story it's a happy story because many of them enjoyed life here.
Yeah, because
So-
And you
it's-
see that in the
for
photographs.
them it was like at home.
Yes.
Yes.
They were with the child, they were with the woman,
Yes.
they were helping, you know, they were living
Yeah.
with each
Playing
other.
sport.
And
Yeah.
it was so different from the
For front
trenches.
lines.
The trenches.
And I
were
think
so
a
hard.
lot of people think, when they think of certainly World War One, they think of people in the trenches all the time.
Yeah, yeah.
But in fact, they were behind
Yeah,
here
yeah.
for a big amount of time.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's a great story, and every one of the photos tells that story
Yeah.
to some degree.
And
What-
for example, when Australians are coming, because what is very special, when they say to us, if we have something to say, try to buy this farm, we did not realize at this time how much
important.
it was important.
Yeah.
Because all these photos have been taken
in
this
that barn,
place.
yes.
So it's incredible because I can see how the Australian, how they feel when they are in this farm.
Yes, yes.
And it's I realize how the place, the picture are very important, but the place is as important also.
I think when we first got involved, I remember a lot of French people saying, "Oh, why are you so interested? It happened 100 years ago. Why are you so interested?" But I think what you said then is important, because when relatives come here, they have a chance to see where their relative actually was, had some time, and had a photo taken, and they've got the photo to show.
Yeah, and for example, when we have a Australian or British, most of the time they begin to make the battlefield, and they go to the cemetery and see the battlefield, and after they arrive at Vignacourt, and a lot of time people are crying and say,
yes,
it's
this is
good to
heavy.
be here, because we realize they have also good time.
Yes,
You know,
yes.
and it's what you can see on all this picture. We are not speaking about war. It's during the war.
Yeah.
They are soldiers. They have their uniform, but it's speaking about not about war. It's speaking about life, and you can feel how life is stronger than death,
Yes.
because you have just to go behind the line and you can see their smile, and you can see they are joking, and you can, I think it's the strongest thing you can feel in the museum, because it's this part who is really strong.
And we certainly feel that when we
Yes.
come here 100 plus years later, that French people are very open to Australians, because we know our boys travelled a long way and thought it was going to be this major adventure. And to see them as young men, and Vignacourt in particular with the photographs without identification, has helped to give names to some of those faces. So the whole centre has so many reasons to exist, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And I don't think Louis and Antoinette knew the legacy that they were leaving when they took those photos. It was to get a little bit of pocket money to help, yes.
Yeah.
But the legacy today is far greater. And I think what you said, Valerie, that when Australians come here, they feel at home.
Yeah.
More so than anywhere else that I feel on the
I
side.
think
They
you
feel
can-
at home.
You can tell that in the photographs, because Antoinette went beyond
Yes.
just taking a photo.
Yeah, and it's, for me, it's important also because it's also art history.
Yes.
And
Yes.
for a few years, during a few years, long years, we
Yes.
forget.
Yes.
And when we discover this collection, everything go.
It elevates.
Yeah, you know, it was like
You get
nobody was
excited. Oh
speaking
my God.
about that,
Yes.
and suddenly everything come
Yes.
back, you know,
Yes.
and it's incredible because I think I have heard when I was young with my grandma 1 or 2 times about the Australian, you know, she always said, "Oh, they were so beautiful." No, but she was speaking most of the time about the Second War, because
Yes.
during the Second War, the Germans
Were here.
you
Yes.
know. So it was difficult for her,
Yes.
and my grandfather was prisoner, so it was difficult. But when we discover all this story, suddenly a lot of people realize that, of course, we are linked. We did not remember that, but when we begin to meet the Australian and begin to speak about this story and how they feel about that, how we feel also about that, we discover that we are cousins. We are really linked.
Connected.
Yes.
Okay, and connected. And after we we make a lot of research, and more research, more we are discovering we are really linked,
Yes.
because there is story, love story, and so much thing to say about this collection.
And it's not just Australian, it's English, Canadian, Chinese,
Indian,
yes,
Nepalese.
So it's a whole
So much
group
people.
of
Canada,
people in the world.
Canada.
Yes.
I love the branding that you used when the museum was developed. The pictures of all the different soldiers on the pictures at the start are just beautiful, because it tells an international story.
Yeah, and you have to imagine what feel. Every time I say, wow, it was really incredible. In Vignacourt, in 1914, only one car. Okay?
Wow,
Most
okay.
of the people we call us the selling egg. We were new for selling egg of
Okay.
chicken.
Oh,
Chicken,
really?
yes.
Okay? So we went in different village with a
Cart,
horse.
yeah.
No, not with
cart,
a car.
with a horse.
With a horse, to
the
take
eggs to sell.
to take rabbit, eggs, chicken, and we
Right.
were selling them in Amiens.
Yes.
Okay, so you have to imagine when
Transformation, wow.
Chinese,
Yes.
Indian, Australian,
Yes.
Scottish with skirt,
Yes.
everything arrived
Trucks,
here.
music.
What the people feel,
Yeah.
it was so. I say
Confronting.
it was an opening window on the world, and I think everything have changed after.
Yeah.
Because they have met new culture, they have met new people, they have passed the difficulty for speaking because they were not speaking English.
Yes.
It at this time I think it was just amazing for the people.
It's been a big job, Valerie, though, maintaining interest, isn't it? Like there are, like we still talk to people in Australia that don't know the story.
Yeah.
There are many, and our focus over the last 10 plus years has been, I think, taking the initial rediscovery in 2010, and that was wonderful work by Ross and Laurent and Max, and of course with
thanks
Mr.
to Kerry
Stokes, thanks to
yes.
Kerry Stokes. But our role has been to take that story and continue to tell it to many, many people. It is difficult, though, isn't it?
Because we are a little museum,
Yes.
and Vignacourt is a little village. A lot of other place, it's more departments who are helping
Yes,
them,
yes.
and here is just a little place.
Yes.
Okay, but every time someone is coming in this museum, every time people say wow.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
And after they say, we are going to speak about
Yes.
that around
Yes.
us.
And I
So-
think for Australians, it's Villebrequin, it's Pozières,
Yeah.
it's all of those big battlefields. But to have this place isn't far from there.
No.
So it's getting that word out that you can go and visit Pozières and be here within 20 minutes.
And your work with the Monash Centre and now being on the Trail of Remembrance,
Yes, it's a massive
along
thing.
with
Yeah.
Noah's, and you have worked with Noah's to tell that story also. That has helped.
Yeah.
But still,
the word of mouth is important.
word of mouth is so important to get it out there, to tell people. And I know we've talked to people and they've said, what? Yeah, and they know of Pozières.
Most of the time, it's what happened.
Yeah.
The people come at the museum because they've
Somebody
heard.
told them, yeah.
For example, you speak about Monash, but regularly Monash say, if you want to see a special place, go to
Yeah,
Vignacourt, because they love this place.
Yes.
Monash, all the people who are working at Monash love
Yes,
Vignacourt,
yes.
And so people are arriving. People tell us to come here,
Yeah.
and every time they say, wow, we are going to speak to more people.
Yes.
It's what I tell you yesterday, it's intimacy.
Yes.
Intimate.
Intimacy.
Intimacy.
Yeah.
It's something really special.
Yes.
And for us, it's good when, for example, group are coming, but when group are coming, we make a group visit.
Yes.
But when we are just with 2 or 3 people, it's really different because it's
Intimate.
intimacy,
Yeah.
intimate. It's
Yeah.
something special,
Yeah.
every time.
Yeah.
Do you have a favourite photograph?
I have it on. I have several one. Okay.
Yeah.
Because it's too difficult to have
Yes.
one
Yeah.
when you see 4,000
It's
faces.
4,000 of them.
It's too difficult.
Yes.
But I can say I'm really touched by the photo of James Dillon
Yes.
because I found who
You
he
just- you
is.
just-
Yes.
Okay,
That's your
But,
intimate story
Yeah,
with him.
and
yeah.
really when I discover all his story, I was really touched because when he sent this postcard to his mother, he was alive. But when she received the postcard, he was not alive
was not
anymore.
alive.
And all this story, is every time you
Yes.
have a lot of emotion.
It's an emotional
when you
drag.
have the life of this man, but also
And you have his face in that photo looking at you.
yeah,
And
but I love this photo before,
Yeah.
because the cigarette,
The
has
cigarettes,
moved and
yeah.
But
He's a real
when,
larrikin.
When I discover he have blue eye,
Yes.
What he was
Yeah.
doing in life, and it's always a lot of
And
emotion.
for
Yeah.
those people listening, in 2022, there was a special ceremony. 2023, there was a special ceremony
for him.
at the cemetery, very close to here.
Yeah,
Very close to here.
It's
And
10 kilometers from here. We have so when I make research, I have his life, and so I discover where he died. So he was hurt in Battle of Villers-Bretonneux, and after he was evacuated to an hospital at 10 kilometers from here, and he died in this hospital. So he is in the cemetery of Cuy-Saint-Pierre.
yeah,
And we want to make a special ceremony.
it was
for
beautiful
him.
ceremony too. It
And
was.
we were lucky because Channel 7 was
Chelsea,
Yes.
and George George Petro
George-
had done a beautiful
Portrait?
portrait of him,
Portraits.
and he was
And,
lucky enough to be here also.
Yeah, and he was happy to know who he was,
Yes.
know.
Now, there's some discussion that he may be indigenous.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I have found a word in the military paper. It's it's
His skin
Colour
colour.
of his skin.
Yeah, and it's a dark one.
Dark. So
Yeah.
they write it as dark
Yeah,
coloured
it's
skin.
called- it's not skin, it's
Complexion.
Complexion. Dark
Mm.
complexion.
I did not know what it means, and dark complexion and I have met another man with I think he's from Brisbane. I speak of him to you.
Yeah.
It's Joe Flick.
Yes, yes.
And he's from not Tasmania, Aboriginal community.
Yes.
And every year he came here to make special ceremony around the grave
Oh,
of the
wow.
of the
Like smoking
Aboriginal
ceremony? Yes.
Aboriginal people. So I
Yes.
meet him and I ask him. I say he does not look like an Aboriginal,
Yes.
and he said, "Oh, there is so much guy who did not look
Yes.
like
Okay.
Aboriginal, but they are
they-
from Aboriginal
Because that's a
origin."
Yes.
very special story of the collection as well. Because I remember when the teenagers came to Australia, they were very interested in the Indigenous story.
Yeah.
Because the number of soldiers that were of Indigenous background that went to the war were great, and yet they weren't treated very well. And in the collection, we know there is one photograph that shows, I think, an
Yeah.
Indigenous person, but there's not too many more. But hopefully we might be able to find out a bit
And
more.
hence that's highlighted in our movie
Yes.
and in the book as well, the role of
The
the
Indigenous story.
soldier. And unfortunately, when they returned to Australia, life was not very kind to them. But here, I'm sure they felt loved
Yeah.
and wanted, and they were brave and courageous, just like all the other soldiers beside them. So in these photographs, it's amazing to see them standing together with
And
their names.
and the photograph of the collection is really strong because
Yes.
one of them is with an Australian
Yes,
guy
yes.
who is not Aboriginal,
No.
Yes, yes.
So they're mates. They're mates.
Yeah.
and they look friend,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it's
Are there any others that are possibly buried close by to here, Valerie? The collection, we know a lot of them went off to battlefields.
As in Australian
Soldiers who went off to other battlefields, but like you discovered James Dillon close by. Are there any others that we know of that are very close to Vignacourt that may have like got their photo taken and they went off and they
Off
maybe
to Villers-Bretonneux.
and they may have come back in 1918 and been here again and maybe buried in a cemetery close by.
Yes,
Maybe.
of course. I'm
possible.
sure. It's possible. Like I'm sure. For the moment, we have linked 3 guy Vignacourt now, but there is more.
Yes.
It's sure.
It is sure.
It's sure.
Yeah.
And we have to continue to make research.
And that's an important thing. We were talking yesterday that you are the director of the centre, but you also are the researcher that is spending many hours researching of your own time to do this. And as you said, there are bigger centres like Monash that are funded greatly, but Vignacourt is funded by the town, basically, and there is a limit to the budget. But it is so important that those things are continued because of what is there.
And I think too, because of our theme along in the podcast about synchronicity, something happens and you say, I'm finished, and then you get a phone call or you buy a book or someone turns up and you go, oh my goodness, this is his story.
Yeah.
So
it's a long time ago, but I'm sure we can find a lot of things.
yes.
And continue to find a lot of things. And it's we, I'm not an historian, but I'm just curious, and what I want to know. It's the story of all these guys.
Yes.
It's incredible because okay, there are pictures. Some of them touch me. Some of them, it's okay. They are all different.
Yes, yes.
But when you are touched or when you want to know the
get
story.
But
Yes.
Valerie, it's passion. It's passion.
Yeah, I am passionate.
And you
by
are
that.
passionate.
I'm lucky to have my job.
And I
I know that.
But I think also anybody who gets involved with this story, like we cannot believe the passion that it has created, and it's a driving force. You were talking about synchronicity, Donna. Valerie, yesterday we had a wander into the house, and out of the blue yesterday we found another glass plate.
I might have to say, it wasn't out of the blue. You were digging in the wall. Every time Michael visits, he goes looking and he's desperate.
I remember, it must have been wonderful for Ross and Max and Laurent to
be involved in
to be
that
involved in
story.
that. But for us, I know a number of years ago, when we had Laurent here, we managed to find some all glass plates, which are now located in the museum, which is great. But again, to find that one yesterday, even though there wasn't much of an image.
You are like a child. But for
he
example,
is normally Valerie.
For example, I was really touched yesterday, not by you or by you, Donna, because I know how you are involved.
We're already there.
I was touched by your daughter,
Isabel,
because she was so exciting, to find something.
Yeah.
Isabel was just wow, and sometimes people say, you are involved or you are interested by this collection because you are from Vignacourt and it's your village. And I say, it's not true.
No.
Because I'm working with a young girl, she's 23.
Yes.
She's not from Vignacourt and she's involved and passionate by all this
Angel has
collection.
passion.
Yeah,
about
because when you are touched,
Yes.
you are. It's difficult not to be touched. It's arrive.
Yeah.
Sometimes people are just okay.
Yeah.
They are not interesting. It can arrive, but it's.
And it's true too. It's not just people from Vignacourt, but it's also another generation can be touched.
Yes.
Because of the feeling that's there for Isabel. She was digging in the wall with you, and she could not let go of that plate. And she's looking at, and I see there's a slouch hat. I'm sure there's a soldier, because it was covered with dirt, and which is the usual case when you find it, especially in a wall. She is desperate to come back and just spend some time just in that room, in that attic. There is a real feeling, and in the whole farm, there's a real feeling of the presence of Antoinette and Louis and the boys that have been through there.
All these plates can disappear during so much year. They stay several years because just after the war, they put all the plates in the attic. They stay several years after the World War II. During the World War II, all the Germans were everywhere in Vignacourt, in all the farm and everything. They did not find them. Okay,
Wow.
no.
Which is quite amazing.
If the Germans have found this place, they would have
destroyed.
destroyed
Yeah,
everything.
yeah,
Okay, they did
yeah.
not found it. Okay, after Antoinette died and Robert stayed in this farm, and they were in the attic. And after Robert died in 1996, 1996 to 2010, nobody was living in this farm. Everything can happen.
Yes,
And the
exactly.
farm was to sell. And imagine someone bought the
Yes.
farm, put all the
Yes.
place in the
Throw it
garbage,
all
you
away.
know.
Yeah.
It was so every time I
being
say
protected.
this guy want to be
Yes,
fine. I'm
they do.
sure
Yes,
about that.
yes.
They do.
I'm
They do.
sure, you know.
Yeah, that's
because
the amazing
it's
thing about
you can feel
It's a magical place.
it's what you say when you are in the attic, you can feel
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
What is the future? What is the future, Valerie? What do you think?
Or what do you hope?
What do you hope?
I hope more and more people
Come.
Yes.
coming.
Yes.
Okay, but we have also we would like to restore the house because one part have been realized, but we have another part with the Trillier house. On the Trillier house, you have the attic where we have found all this picture, okay, and we would like to restore this part, but it's difficult for the council because we have help to do the museum, but this part is not going to be a museum, so we it's difficult to find help. So for the moment we have a problem more, and but we would like because some people have speak about put it down, but it will really we will be sad because the house is a part of the
Yes,
museum.
it's the
you know,
story.
It's where Louis and Antoinette
it's
lived.
part of the
yeah,
story.
they were living here. The
Yeah.
attic is
Photographs were
where
taken there.
yeah, and it will be. I hope this will never happen, but.
It's the
Only
future.
Yeah.
the future is going to
We'll
answer.
see.
So
Yes.
what is happening at the moment? What plans do you have sort of for this year and next year in the centre?
Okay, so now we are open since 2018. So what we try to do, we know when Australians are here. Most of the time for Anzac,
Yes.
we have a lot of Australian. We know
It's
when
a
the
hoot of a time, might I
when
say. It's
the
a great
British
time.
are
It is a good
here,
time.
for
Yeah.
example, July
July
is very
is summer.
important. So we are trying to make event for everybody
Based around those dates.
every time.
Yeah.
But after we want also the French people
Yes.
Yes.
be involved in the museum. So we have created an association and we make a lot of workshop because the workshop, it's the French who are coming.
Yeah.
You are not going to come to a workshop from Australia.
No, but
you
it's
know.
keeping it local, which is important.
And for me, what is important, it's one day I will not be there.
Yeah.
So I want the people from the village
to
to
take ownership of it. Yeah.
their history and say it's our
Yeah.
history, not only the history of the village, not only the history of the Australian or the British, but it's our history. And it's very important for the village and important for people from all over the world.
Yeah.
So this place have to continue. I
for
think
the
it's
locals.
very
But
So
important.
you do workshops on photography, music, art.
Everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like a
Yeah.
community. It's getting the community
social. It's a
through
social
the
program.
Tulier collection.
Yeah.
You bring the community to.
Which is basically what the Tuliers did.
They did.
They
They
all
brought
the
everybody.
soldiers
Yeah.
come
And there was
in
there was
and-
drama and there was
Yeah.
music.
Yes,
But I remember
yeah.
the teens back in 2010 to 2013, before they came to Australia, they started the story from a young. They were telling stories to people that were coming. So that journey has continued, and you have continued that.
Yeah.
And I think your passion is what continues. You are like the Tuliers, and the Tuliers had a legacy of leaving photographs, but your legacy is your passion to hear the story
Continuing the
told,
story.
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
important.
I have a group who came from Anzac, but they came before. We meet each other. They visit the museum. They were really wow, and I speak with them. And I the first time, and I say every year for Anzac we organize a week. and you have on that ground, you have exhibition, you have concert. We do a lot of things.
Yes, you do.
And the guy John say, okay, I'm going to try to come for this moment. And
Is this the bicycle man?
Yeah.
Yes.
and this year he came with his group.
Yes.
Okay, and one woman asked to run, and we say yes, of course, it's
Yes.
okay. And he said, how can we help? And I said, oh, you can help here. They were, and it was not for the museum. It was to be with us.
Yes, to be
okay?
with the community.
To be with the
Yes,
community,
yeah.
because this is very important,
Yes, yes.
And just before leaving, they say, wow, it's the only French moment we have during our trip, because we are
yes.
in France,
Yes,
but
but-
we are going to the hotel, and we are
Yes.
speaking between
Yes,
us
we
with
are on
only
buses,
English,
yes.
and they were dancing
Yes.
on Vincent bar,
Yes.
Yeah.
outside, and people were speaking. They did not understand
Yeah.
anything, but we tried to.
Yeah.
After it was we went to Carole and Bertrand,
Yes.
and it was a big moment event in their farm, and there were chicken on barbecue. And the Australian they said, wow, everybody was.
But you know what? That is what the Australian soldiers did 100 years
Yeah,
ago.
yeah,
so
yeah.
it's reliving.
still alive.
So
It's still
I think the opportunity in Vignacourt is to come to Vignacourt and you experience France,
Yeah.
and in the background of the Great War, you relive the moments because you are with the people here.
Yeah.
And I know that every person in Vignacourt
And
that
I
we come
think
across
more
is
and
the same.
more Australian are, it's not a lot, but 4 guest houses have opened since the museum is open.
Yeah.
Because, for tourism, it's always
Yes.
difficult to
know.
evaluate how
Where do we
the
stay?
museum
Yes.
Yes,
is
yes.
giving to the
Yes.
Yes.
to the
Giving
council,
back,
and
yeah.
it's difficult. But 4 guest houses have opened.
That's amazing.
And when I speak with the guest house, they have a lot of people, British,
Yes.
Spanish,
Yeah.
Australian. I have one.
Yes.
Australian came here, and I think more and more Australian are going to come because they want to live that
Yes.
French moment.
Yes, exactly.
I think when you are an Australian, you are coming from very far.
Yeah.
The first time, sometimes you come in group, or you come and you are going to go to see what everybody
Everything,
is
yeah.
going to go to
Yes,
see.
yes, yes.
The first time.
The bucket
but
list.
when you do that, after you realize it's easy to travel in France.
Yeah.
So the next time you are going to come a little group or just with your wife or your family,
Yeah.
and you want to see more,
Yeah.
And I can at the beginning it was only Australian who are traveling with other people, and now more and more are coming back. What is important for us is they come one time, but they come back.
Back a second time.
It's better.
Yeah.
And
It's
when
meaningful.
when they are coming a second time and they say, do you remember us?
Yeah.
I say,
yeah.
oh yes,
Yes.
and this is for me the most important thing.
Yeah.
It's not just to come one time. It's important to come the first time, but
Yeah.
when you want to come back, it means that you feel what we are speaking since the
Yes,
beginning.
yes. Yeah.
Something special
Yes.
here.
And I believe that many of our soldiers, if they could have come back, they would have come back to Vignacourt. And unfortunately, many of our soldiers went home and PTSD and mental issues and were just destroyed after the war. But their memories of Vignacourt would have been the most positive amongst all of the others that they faced during that time. So we are eternally thankful to...
And I think
the
your
French people.
your wonderful man Pierre last night mentioned the spirit,
Yeah.
and that the spirit of what you feel in Vignacourt and at the Tullier farm is those spirits of those people that are still
Speak about
here.
love.
Yes,
You speak
yes.
when people love each other, they can die
Yes,
after.
yes.
Things stay because it's stronger than everything, and it's what I say, life is stronger than death.
Yes.
And what all these pictures show, it's
life.
that life is
Yes.
stronger,
Yes.
and when you speak about love, it's the same. There is so so much interaction
Yes.
between the people during this moment, during this period,
Yeah.
because we are speaking about wedding. But
Everything, yes.
it's
Yeah.
wedding. It was the final act,
Yes.
but I think there is more
Yes.
than wedding
Yes.
here.
I think so too.
I'm
think
sure
so
about
too.
that.
I
think
think,
so too.
Donna, your photos in the attic is that love story.
Yeah. And it's also that the sending, because Louis converted the photographs to postcards ahead of his time. Like, that was an amazing feat as well.
Yes.
For a mother in Australia to see that photo of her son with a smile and maybe even a bottle of beer in his hand or his arm around a little kid from the village made her feel that somebody else was loving him during this time.
Yeah.
So the whole process, God bless Louis and Antoinette, so forward thinking, and yet deep down their whole idea, I'm sure, was to make these guys feel okay just for a short time.
It
before
made a
they
difference.
went back. Yeah.
Valerie, thank you so much. Your passion tells the story, and as I said, you are the modern day Louis and Antoinette.
And look, also too, we are currently in Valerie's
Yes,
lounge
we're in
room,
her
and
lounge room.
We are staying in her gîte,
And we have drunk with Valerie
is
and
in the
Pierre.
next room. So we are continuing it. And
Yeah.
look, honestly, Vignacourt is a great place to come to
If-
if you want that living.
If you want to feel
experience.
the experience of France, and if you want to experience what a relative felt 100 years ago, you need to go no further than to come to Vignacourt and feel that. Because
Very close to Amiens.
Yep, you are very close. Very easy to get here, and a beautiful part of France, and lots of unknown things around here that people don't think about, because we are in Picardy.
Yeah.
In France, not too many people come to Picardy.
Yeah.
But in the north of France,
joyful-
it's beautiful.
The other side of war.
Yeah,
It's
it's the other
side.
side. So, Valerie, thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. You're, as I said, we love...
And please, sorry for my English.
Oh my goodness! Don't
Valerie, your English
Because-
is great.
No, I
French
know
is
it's not a
shocking.
good one.
No.
I just try to speak.
It is
No,
wonderful,
you're
but
fine.
we sense your passion. But, you know, your
One
work...
day you will have an Australian accent, I'm
Yes,
sure.
yes.
We will
Your
work on
work
that.
here, though, is just wonderful, and we pay credit to you. And I'm sure if I could speak on behalf of those wonderful soldiers from many, many countries, they are saying thank you to you for keeping the
And
story
this
alive.
village.
And the village.
And this wonderful place.
Thanks, Valerie.
Thank you,
Take
Valerie.
care. We look forward to spending a few more days with you here.
Yeah.
We look forward to it.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you. Thank you.